Shara Bullet Magomedov has completely lost vision in his right eye, yet he's remained undefeated through 15 professional fights, finishing 12 of them with brutal knockouts. But he's not alone. There are more like him. Welcome back to Fight Legends Unleashed, where we expose the most extraordinary stories in combat sports. Today, we're diving into something that seems impossible. Fighters who've lost their sight but gained something far more dangerous. An otherworldly ability to sense, predict, and destroy their opponents through pure instinct and enhanced senses. In this explosive breakdown, we'll analyze three incredible warriors who prove that blindness isn't a disability in the fight game. It's a superpower. First, we'll examine Shara Magomedov's meteoric rise in the UFC, including his jaw-dropping knockout at UFC 308 that had commentators questioning reality. Then we'll explore Ronald Blackmamba, Dlamini's incredible journey from coma patient to champion coach, training sighted fighters to victory while completely blind. Finally, we'll witness Gabriel Melo's mind-bending Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills, executing flying submissions that most sighted grapplers couldn't dream of attempting. Prepare to have your perception of combat sports completely shattered as we prove that sometimes losing your sight means gaining the deadliest vision of all. Shara Magomedov's story begins with a tragedy that would crush most fighters' dreams forever. During a routine training session in Thailand, the Dagestani striker suffered a catastrophic eye injury that would change his life forever. What started as a simple sparring session became a nightmare of 8 separate surgeries, each one attempting to save his vision. Before the operation, I was mainly afraid of an injection in the eye, Magomedov revealed in a haunting interview. They pierce it from 2 or 3 sides. My eyes were tortured specifically. After years of failed procedures and mounting medical debt funded by his family, doctors finally convinced him that complete removal was his only option. The 30-year-old went from rising prospect to one-eyed warrior, losing all vision in his right eye but gaining something far more valuable: unshakable determination. Magomedov found inspiration in an unlikely source: UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping, who fought the latter years of his career with pretty much no vision in his right eye after a brutal 2013 loss to Vitor Belfort. Bisping didn't just survive, he thrived, eventually capturing the UFC middleweight championship. He's laid down the path and he set an example for me, Magomedov explained. It's much easier to follow somebody's path as opposed to wander around in the dark. Magomedov's most spectacular moment came at UFC 308 against Armen Petrosyan. What happened next defied all logic and left the combat sports world in stunned silence. In the second round, with his depth perception compromised and fighting at the sport's highest level, Magomedov landed something that seemed impossible: a perfectly timed double-spinning back fist that dropped Petrosyan like he'd been shot. Magomedov, relying entirely on timing, distance management through sound and movement, spun not once but twice, each back fist finding its mark with surgical precision. Petrosyan crumpled to the canvas as the arena erupted. Commentators struggled to find words for what they'd witnessed: a one-eyed fighter executing one of the most technically demanding strikes in combat sports with flawless accuracy. What makes Magomedov's success even more remarkable is how he's turned his disability into a competitive advantage. Without peripheral vision on his right side, he's developed an almost supernatural ability to read opponents through sound, breathing patterns, and subtle movement cues that sighted fighters often miss. His 15-1 record with 12 finishes speaks to more than just natural talent. It reveals a fighter who's unlocked abilities that most combatants never access. Despite his success, Magomedov faces a unique challenge that threatens his championship aspirations. Many athletic commissions, particularly in the United States, refuse to license him due to his eye condition. This has restricted him to fighting primarily in the Middle East, limiting his ability to face top contenders and pursue title shots. UFC CEO Dana White has expressed concerns about regulatory approval, though Magomedov revealed in 2024 that special agreements might make American fights possible. For now, the most dangerous one-eyed fighter in the world remains geographically limited, but his impact on the sport continues to grow with each devastating performance. Ronald Blackmamba. Dlamini was at the absolute peak of his powers in 2012. As South Africa's first black welterweight champion with an impressive 27-4 record, he'd overcome poverty, racism, and every opponent put in front of him. The man who earned his nickname by performing splits over fallen opponents seemed invincible. Then meningitis struck like a silent assassin. What began as headaches quickly escalated into a medical emergency. After seeking treatment, a well-meaning nurse administered an unauthorized painkiller injection. She took 5 steps back, and I lost my sight, Dlamini recalls with chilling clarity. I was in a coma for 10 days. When I woke, I felt mad. I was trying to hit everyone. I thought I was in the ring. Waking up from his coma, Dlamini faced a reality that would destroy most fighters. Not only was he completely blind, but his weight had plummeted from a muscular 78 kilograms to a skeletal 49 kilograms. But champions are forged in adversity, and Dlamini refused to accept defeat. Losing your sight humbles your spirit and demoralizes you, he admitted. To live is to suffer, but you have to find meaning within that suffering. I felt I was being given this cross because I could carry it. What happened next defies all logic and medical expectations. Instead of retiring quietly, Dlamini demanded to return to training. His coach, Ryan Hassan, watched in amazement as his friend began sparring again, this time relying entirely on enhanced senses. The most incredible aspect of Dlamini's story isn't his personal comeback. It's his ability to train sighted fighters to championship level while completely blind. Dlamini's transformation goes beyond simple adaptation. He's become a sensory master who can teach others to fight with abilities they never knew they possessed. His enhanced hearing allows him to detect the direction of punches before they're thrown. His heightened sense of touch means a single contact reveals an opponent's weight distribution, balance, and intended movement. Perhaps most remarkably, Dlamini has discovered that MMA's grappling component actually favors blind fighters. MMA, with its emphasis on contact, grappling, and holds, plays to my strengths, he explains. Once he establishes contact, vision becomes secondary to the tactile chess match of ground fighting. In the world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where split-second timing and precise leverage determine victory and defeat, Gabriel Melo has achieved something that seems impossible. Despite being completely visually impaired, this 20-year-old Brazilian grappler executes techniques that would challenge world-class sighted competitors. Melo's specialty is the flying armbar, one of BJ's most spectacular and dangerous submissions. This technique requires perfect timing, spatial awareness, and the ability to read an opponent's movement and balance in real time. Training 3 times per day, Melo competes in both conventional and para-jiu-jitsu divisions, proving that his skills translate across all levels of competition. His preparation involves developing heightened sensitivity to his opponent's breathing, muscle tension, and balance shifts. Melo has learned to feel the precise moment when an opponent's guard opens, or their base becomes compromised. Melo's most documented success came at Arnold Sports South America, where he demonstrated his flying armbar against a sighted opponent. The sequence was a masterclass in applied physics and timing. From a standing position, Melo jumped into his opponent's guard, immediately transitioned to an armbar setup, and secured the submission with a technical precision that left spectators speechless. Melo's success reveals a deeper truth about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that many practitioners never discover. In Jiu-Jitsu, the vision that matters is the one to overcome, explains a training partner. This visually impaired athlete teaches us that limitations don't define what we're capable of achieving. His approach emphasizes that the most important battles in grappling happen through touch and pressure, not sight. By eliminating visual distractions, Melo has developed an almost telepathic connection with his opponent's intentions and reactions. What's your take on these incredible adaptations? Do you think losing one sense can actually make a fighter more dangerous? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping analysis of combat sports' most extraordinary athletes.